More than 132 million Americans are being scammed every single day. This is a massive issue that I want to explain, and I want to actually show you a video clip. This is a Senate hearing, and this is with Tommy Tuberville, who's a senator out of Alabama. But in this clip, we are now learning about government spending, Social Security, and money that you are paying into the system that is just completely being wiped away the second Congress gets the money. So, I want to address what's going on, how you are being scammed, and give you a few ideas about what you could do to get out of it. So, let's get right down to it. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So we are truly having a retirement crisis. Millions and millions of people in the United States are not just complaining, they are concerned, they are worried, they are panicking because the cost of living continues to rise. Food, shelter, health insurance, everything more expensive today than it was 4 years ago, 10 years ago, even 20 years ago. And the cost, the amount of money that we are making, your earnings, in many cases, are staying flat or are not actually coming up with inflation. It's a massive issue, but I want to actually play you a clip. This is a clip. This is a Senate hearing. This is the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. They're holding a hearing on this retirement crisis. So let's play that clip. This is from a few days ago. Let's play that and then let's discuss it.
This is all a scam. I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. It's impossible. Because what happens, it comes up here, we spend it. We're $35 trillion in debt. We don't have any money. We're dead broke. And then taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt.
I want to stop it right there for a second. So Tommy Tuberville saying that the U.S. government is dead broke. We have $35 trillion in debt, and taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt. We now have the highest credit card debt we have ever had in the history of the United States. You know why? Because we do not have savings. We just don't. The cost of living is so high, and our earning potential, again, hasn't moved because we are not getting paid more. But yet, at the same time, shelter, to buy a house is expensive. To rent a house is expensive. To buy food is expensive. Everything is going up. But he says we are dead broke. Every cent that comes into Congress, they spend it. Let's keep listening.
We are in huge trouble. In this body, we had better start figuring that out because we're going to have a run on this city here soon, and there's going to be about 150 million people coming up here saying, where's our damn money?
When he's talking about this city, he is talking about Washington, D.C. Because what we have seen, when there is a massive issue in the United States, what normally happens? People begin to protest. They drive from the West Coast to the East Coast. They drive to Washington, D.C. and try to figure out what in the world is going on. Where's our money? Why are you guys not doing more for us? That's a problem. Let's keep listening.
That we paid in. I could have put my Social Security money, 40 years, in tax in the market, and probably be worth 8 to 10 million today. But the federal government wasted it. So I'll get off my horse there. But it's good that we have this because we got, I get a little pension check from education. I was part of a union. It's not going to help people.
So he says he gets a pension check. He was part of a union. So he gets a check every month, right? He's also a U.S. senator. So he gets paid almost $200,000 every single year. And then on top of that, he gets his pension and he's getting some money, right? But that's not the majority of the American people. The American people, the majority, have a retirement crisis. Because when it comes time for them to retire, which as of right now, let me paint this picture for you. 4 years ago, 10,000 people per day were retiring. Today, it's about 11,400 people every single day are retiring. This is a massive crisis. But we have 132.5 million people that are currently working every single day to pay into a system that they may never see that money. Let's keep listening, because somebody's going to come up here in just a second, and what she has to say is really eye-opening. It's a shocker. Listen to this.
People are going to have to continue to work longer and longer. Am I right, Ms. Gender? Can you say something about Social Security?
Listen to her.
And it being taxed for some reason. We're taxing people for the second time on Social Security that they put into.
But before we listen to her really quick, he says that we are taxing people for the second time. Because keep in mind, when you get some money, okay, you get some money. Let's say you get $100 from your employer. Guess what? You gotta pay 6.4%. So there we go. We got, let's say $100. Here's about 6.4%. That money goes away, gone. Okay. Then the employer pays 6.4%. Okay, or 6.2%. Excuse me. Because that, you got to pay 12.4% to Social Security. So instead of having your full $100 bill here, you're left with this. Okay? Do you see the issue? Now, on top of that, when you want that money, guess what? You're taxed. You are taxed again for the second time. Because guess what? If you make too much money on Social Security, then let's say this is your Social Security check. Guess what? If you make over a certain amount, up to 50% of your Social Security benefit is taxed. Up to 50%. Which means if this is what you have, let's say there's your whole Social Security benefit, 50% of that is taxed. You are going to be taxed on this amount of money. But yet you were already taxed this. And then you got taxed this. That's all you're left with. Do you see the issue here? Let's keep listening.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out when Social Security was first founded, those who established it, it was started out as a 2% tax, and they said this will never take more than 6% of your income.
So they said it started out as a 2% tax, and it would never be more than 6%. You know how much it is?
Today it takes 12.4%, and depending on whether you go with CBO or Social Security trustees, it needs to take between 15.8 and 17.5%.
So we pay 12.4%, but depending on who you go with the Congressional Budget Office or others, it's going to take over 15%, which means we are a few percent off. But that could be a massive hit. So
we're talking about thousands of dollars more per year. It also was actually only originally recommended that the tax be up to $66,000, equivalent in today's dollars of earnings. But over
Just so you know, currently it's up over $160,000 is how much we pay for the Social Security tax cap is $160,200. So big difference, over $100,000 more.
time, it has expanded massively, and the money has been spent every year. So whereas everybody thinks this money's been set aside for me, no, for the past 13 years, every dollar that has gone out of workers' paychecks has gone immediately to pay promised benefits. And
That's a huge issue, huge red flag. Because and again, this is where many people say that the Social Security system is completely broken, because for what I pay, when I pay Social Security tax, it's not set aside an account for me, for my family. It's set in an account and pays benefits immediately, today, to my neighbor, to my aunts and uncles, to people down the street, to people all over the United States. That's who it's paid to. It's not set aside for me. That's a huge issue, because in the next 10 years, by 2034, Social Security's trust fund would become insolvent, which as of right now, it is projected that you will not get 100% benefit in 2034. No. You would get about 77 to 78%, which means if you get $1,000, you would only get about $770 to $780 per month, which means you lose that 22 to 23%. That's a huge hit. Let's keep listening.
that's what happens when you have a system that enables those in charge of it to spend the money in the immediate term and leave the buck to the next generation that's coming along. And because Social Security has grown so much, it's actually to the detriment of lower income workers in particular, who have to pay such a large share of their paycheck to Social Security. They have little left to save for retirement. And then lower income and African American workers have the lowest life expectancies. So they are the most likely to get nothing back in return.
Oh, hold on, let me play this one last thing.
1 out of 4 African American men will die between the ages of 45 and 64 after having paid into this system for decades, tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they might get nothing back.
So what she's saying right there, and this is a huge issue, is lower income, and then she's also throwing African American families in there as well, but lower income households, okay, and it doesn't matter what nationality you are, what color, it doesn't matter. If you are a lower income household, and let's say the amount of the Social Security tax cap is $160,000, I believe it's somewhere right there. If it's $160,000, how many people, if you are considered lower income, are making $160,000? Well, very few, if actually none. Okay? Because $160,000 is over $10,000 per month. Was it $15,000 per month that you're making? That's a huge, huge income. Especially in today's dollars, where there are households that are making $1,500 to $2,000 per month. That household is making about $20,000, $24,000, $25,000 per year. So 100% of their income is going to be hit with that Social Security tax of of 12.4%. Okay, think about that. Then again, if she's saying 1 out of every 4 or 1 out of every 5 African American households, they don't even make it to full retirement, so they never get their money. They never see a penny of that, yet they paid into it all those years. Just keep listening.
What's the solution?
I think we ultimately have to shift towards a universal benefit system. That's what true social insurance is. It does not make sense that we are paying the biggest benefits to the highest income earners. So gradually over time, I think we need to bend down the benefits for the middle and upper income earners, actually increase them for the lower income earners. Look at things like indexing retirement age to life expectancy, more accurate inflation index. And I think that workers need an option to have their money in something that actually earns a positive rate of return and that can't just immediately be spent by Congress.
I have a 28 and 29-year-old, 2 boys, got a job, working hard, paying Social Security. They ask me all the time, Dad, will I ever see any of that money? Will they see it?
I think they will see some of it. That's the exact same thing I hear whenever I ask a group of younger workers, and none of them raises their hand. So I think that there will be something there, but it's not going to be what has been promised.
Mr. Stevens, you got anything to add to that?
Thank you, Senator. What I would add is when we talk about Social Security or we talk about pensions, the 2 things that they both have in common is that guaranteed income. You know what you're going to get, generally speaking, at the end.
I want to jump in here really quick because both of them are talking about guaranteed income. One of the things that we've been hearing a lot lately, and again, this is going to pose a threat to this retirement crisis. We've been hearing a lot of speculation that the Biden administration wants to go and allow immigrants in the United States and potentially open this up to illegal immigrants in the future, but allow them a expedited work permit. You go through a process, you get vetted, you get an expedited work permit, then you can go work. If we are seeing, tens of thousands of people enter into the United States, or technically hundreds of thousands of people enter into the United States, through the border, if that's happening every single month, then potentially we have hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people every single year that we can then go and tax. That would bring more revenue into the Social Security bucket, and then we could hopefully have more money to pay out. Doesn't mean your benefits are going to increase. It just means now we aren't every single dollar we get in, we're not paying it out immediately. We have a little bit of a bucket, a little bit of a safety net we can turn to. And again, this could work, but the concern is we are now pretty much just opening the door to millions of people coming in. Not only that, it could hurt workers here in the United States, because if we have more workers coming in and trying to fight for the exact same jobs, it could mean wages will tick down because employers have more power, which means we could see ultimately wages drop, which means in the end, revenue for Social Security could drop as well. That would be a huge, huge disaster, but we don't know which way it's going to turn. The other thing, and again, just want to bring this up because he's talking about guaranteed income. Social Security is technically that guaranteed income. Here's the problem. In 10 years, it will not be guaranteed at 100%. It would only be guaranteed about 77 to 78%. So that right there is already a cut. We're already seeing some big impacts regarding AI and artificial intelligence. If we see this start taking away jobs, more and more lawmakers and state governors have already talked about, discussed, and there's more potential of a universal basic income where people get an income every single month no matter what. But are we going to tax that income? That's the big question. Let's keep listening.
End of it. What I referenced in terms of protected retirement, we have developed now solutions that get at both of those in a very efficient way. And they also address the issue around market volatility because we have step-ups and lock-ins. And it's a very efficient way to deliver that to millions of Americans that we've been talking, and that's all because of what you all did around Secure Act 1.0 and 2.0. They have put us in a position to do that. And that's why I'm really encouraging us to have every 401k plan, 457 plan, 403b plan at least one of those solutions so that the American workers can choose. If they want to know what they're going to get in retirement, we can deliver that for them.
Young.
I want to jump in one more time there. And another retirement crisis as well is many people don't know what a 401k is. Many people don't know what a Roth IRA is. They don't have any idea about these things. And that's part of the problem, is they are not being educated on what's there. Okay? The financial education in this country is shocking. It's appalling. But again, that's part of the issue. Let's listen to one last thing before this clip
People
wraps
of all
up.
ages ask me, why can't we put our money in our own 401k instead of putting it in Social Security? Is there an answer to that?
I think what I love is that they're asking the right question. Savings in any way is a good thing, and I think there's a place for Social Security, there's a place for pensions, and there's certainly a place for what we're doing in 401k plans.
Thank you.
So right there, people are asking, why are we forced to invest into Social Security? Why can't we just put the money into our own plan? Well, here's the problem. You cannot be, especially when there's millions of people, over 40 million people, 60 million people, something like that, that are collecting Social Security benefits every single month. If all of a sudden people decide, you know what, I don't want to put money into Social Security, I'm going to put it into my 401k. I want to stick it over in my Roth IRA. Guess what? What happens to Social Security? All those beneficiaries that are waiting for their check can't get it. They just can't get it because there's no money going into that bucket. You can't pull money out of a bucket that has nothing in it. So, huge concerns there. I just wanted to pretty much show you what's happening and talk and explain that, yeah, this is a real crisis. The retirement crisis is huge. Now, what could you do about it? Well, there's one thing. You could move. You could move out of the United States. That's really your only option because there's a couple things that we know, okay? There are two things that are guaranteed in life: death and taxes. That is it. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it wasn't the greatest news, but I just wanted to open your guys' eyes as to what crisis we are about to face because there are currently discussions on this. But as to seeing any action, well, that's up in the air. So, that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise, I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.